So, welcome to our final day of our January challenge 2022 and our final live Zoom. This is the first year we've done these live Zooms, but I hope it's been a success and a nice way as well to end the whole month. If you could mind muting, that would be super.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So what we'll do, we will start with this very, very gentle playthrough. I was practicing it earlier and realized that what feels gentle, because the beginning is so steady, but then when it kind of doubles, it isn't gentle. So I'm going to really try and drag myself back. So the beginning where it might feel really, really slow, but then when we get to that line 3 where the sort of timing doubles in speed, will hopefully still be at a nice steady pace that everyone feels able to keep up with one way or another. Okay, so starting at the beginning. Okay, so beginning with that counting. Okay, 1 and 2 and Well done. Well done. And even though that was really nice and slow, and I think I managed to hold it back and not rush too much in the middle, it actually allows all that beauty to come through, doesn't it, as well? And it just kind of rings out and sings out really beautifully. There's something really magical, I was thinking in the middle of that, about us all across the globe playing at the same time. You know, I know there's that ever such a slight delay on Zoom, but you'll all have a similar one. So you guys were all playing at the same time. And just sort of, that's I think one of the joys of JaNEWary, that happens. And one of the questions in the feedback questionnaire, I don't know if you've all seen that, is what time of day do you normally do it? And there's no particular set time. There are some people that do it in the morning, some in the afternoon, and so on. So if you imagine that if someone in the UK is doing it in the afternoon, but someone in the US or Canada are doing it in the morning, then you might well actually be playing these same notes at the same time as someone else across the other side, which is a really nice thought, which is lovely. So what I'd like to do at this point is open it up to any questions. So we'll stay muted unless you're asking a question, and then everyone will be able to hear the answers. It would be the best way to do it. I don't know if anyone would like to start us off. David, you started us off really well last time, didn't you? Do you want to break that ice for us? You'll need to unmute. That would be great.
No, I don't have any questions. Sorry.
That's okay.
I did, because I'm not always with my large harp, and I said I had a small harp, 26-string harp. I'm trying to do those same things you suggested on the Caroline's Dream,
Right.
on this, so that I just simplify the, I do an octave, or sometimes I just do a fifth.
In the bass.
But try to keep on the D. Try to always come back to the D, since that is what needs to keep resonating.
Yeah,
So
that sounds really good.
okay.
And does it sound good?
It doesn't sound as full or as beautiful as you're doing it, but it sounds fine.
Excellent. Yeah, that's really good. So if I remember, your harp goes down to a C, just one octave below middle C. Is that right?
Right. My small harp loses that bottom octave. Yes.
Got you. That's it. Does it have metal strings, or does it have those sort of wound plasticky ones, nylon-y ones?
It has nylon.
Yeah, around nylon. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, the opening, of course, you can do an octave higher because this is still up high. So you probably do that. And then yeah, D, A, D, D, or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great if you're making that work. And its own, I suppose, in the melody, it's sort of, it goes down to F and G, doesn't it? But otherwise, a lot of it sits naturally up higher anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
It's really good. Excellent. Good stuff. Brilliant. Okay, thank you. Anybody? Sheila, you've got your hand raised. That's very good. Very good technology use.
I find the grace notes quite difficult, particularly in bar 19 and the following line, because in the first line they're played very quickly after that first quaver, but then you've got to get 2 quavers in before this grace note in bar, the example 19. I find that quite difficult to time.
Yes. So the way I did it, and this may not be completely accurate, but the way I did it was I actually made it as if they were 2 semiquavers leading in. So if our beats sort of da 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 dum ba da dum bum bum, I'm not singing the right notes. So 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Does that make sense? So I don't try and fit it after the left-hand quaver. I'll fit it with that left-hand quaver and treat them as 2 semiquavers.
Yes, I can see what you're saying now. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. And that isn't what I'm doing at the beginning as such, because that it's got to fit between 2 quavers, but actually it probably is, because that's half time from what it is. So actually it probably is very much what I'm doing there as well. And it feels comfortable and works, almost especially at the slightly slower speed, because I think it could sound a bit rushed otherwise. That's my personal take on it.
Yes, I think that's easier, isn't it, to fit in then, rather than trying to squash it after the second quaver.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Marie's saying a hello to you as well in the chat. Nicola, you've got your hand up. That's lovely. There we are.
Can you hear me now? Hi, everyone. Mine's just a bit of a technique thing, Mary. With the octaves and playing the D, D, and then the D, D, A, getting that spread in the left hand, I keep on getting my bunny rabbit ears sticking up with my middle fingers, and it's a bit of a fault of mine that when I'm playing the octave, my fingers just pop up in the air, and I find it really hard to get them down.
Okay.
And I just wondered if you had any tips for that, because it sort of almost feels more comfortable with them up in the air, but I know it doesn't look good. And I just find it really difficult to get them down when I'm playing. They pop, especially my middle finger, it just pops right up in the air.
Okay. So have you done open octave work in other pieces where you intentionally have the hand open?
Not specifically, no.
Yeah. So it is a recognized way of playing left hand when it's a series of octaves, say. I'm not actually suggesting it for this piece, but just so that you know, it is where you intentionally, and you almost have them straight, sort of like this, and you can oscillate back and forward like that. But if you are trying to play a sequence of notes where you have other notes coming in, as we do in that line 2, you're right, we were sort of aiming more for the fingers down. So the way I would do it, what you're describing is a lot of sort of tension, you know, and even though you're sort of holding the fingers out the way, it's still a tension that's holding them there. Yeah. So what I would aim to do is first think about the approach in the first place. So actually sit nice and square, you know, lift yourself in sort of as if you're a puppet on a string from the elbow, and come on in and then come down. And as you come down, sort of allow that 1 and 4 to land. My 4 is lower than my 1, but it's not crazy low, you know, just because it's an octave apart, it's not crazy low. Then what I would do is I would give them a little squeeze, and imagine if you were holding onto a ledge with a couple of fingers, your other fingers wouldn't be sticking out here. They would just drop down. They would let you do all the focus of hanging onto that ledge. So imagine that these strings are the ledge that you're hanging onto, and just really you might want to take a deep breath and blow it out and let it sort of really, so that it's just those fingers that are holding on. And then the other fingers in the middle, I can't show it so well when I'm not holding on to something, can just flop, because they're not trying to hold themselves up anywhere. The thumb and the 4th finger are doing holding. Yeah.
Okay, that helps.
Really allow that to drop. And then it's just this second line has been a troublesome line, I think, for many, with these loops.
Yeah.
But it's trying not to panic in it. When I was playing it for you now, I tried to stay, I'll put my original sound on again, so you try to stay really calm with it, and then just opening up. You know, nothing dramatic about it, just it's an octave, and then I'm just coming to this note here, and then I'm going back to that octave, and I just happen to have my finger 2 in, but in one of those shapes, the octave in the 5th, that our left hand is so commonly has to open to. But yeah, it's about a real physical tension and being.
It is a wide thing that I need to work on. Yeah, definitely. So that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. And it's something that everyone can benefit from, because in a way, saying to someone, stop being tense, does the exact opposite. You know, it makes you go, oh gosh, you know, so really giving yourself that space to go, right, I'm going to let it just hang there for a bit and really try and feel that tension, you know, release the shoulders from my ears, release the effort of holding the elbow out. It's just there, you know, which hasn't dropped it down here. It's just where it lands. And then letting those fingers in and really feel it come right to the tips of those middle fingers. And then try playing that through and pausing at moments and kind of going, actually, have I pulled them up again? It's a very human thing to do. Yeah, the other reason for not pulling them up is not so much about the look, is about the way that our other fingers control where the ones we're playing go. So if they stick up here, up there, like that, then when you play that 4, you're going to pluck it up there as well. And the whole hand's going to end up playing like this. If they're down, when you play that 4th, you'll want to bring it in. And you'll have left the room then for your thumb to go nicely over.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's not really a look thing at all. The look thing happens to be that when we do it right, inverted commas, it looks beautiful. But that's the reason we do it.
I have the same thing in my right hand, you know, I try to get the hand position, but before I know it, my fingers are sticking up in the air. And yeah, but definitely to work on the tension, I think. Thank you.
Yeah, and allow the right elbow to come out as well, because as soon as we let that right elbow drop, and especially if we then sort of get a bit glued to the harp, because between our wrist and this elbow there's no bend, as soon as that's dropped, everything gets levered upwards. So naturally we end up playing A, higher on the strings perhaps than we should, but also that shape becomes more like that. As soon as we let the elbow out, but in a relaxed way, in a, you know, a low way, then we've got space. And again, that feeling, you know, really take the time to let them just slide down and be where they are. Another thing with the left hand is if you're trying to see your fingers too much, because when we look at our left hand, the thumb kind of gets in the way. But if you're going, oh, where are my fingers in the right place, and you're trying to see that, you'll automatically lift them higher as well.
Right.
Trust that opening up of the shape. We don't do that so much with our right hand because we can see them through the strings. And if we played the harp on the other shoulder, the roles would be reversed.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I've gone on a lot there, but I know that's a very helpful answer for lots of people.
Mary, it was really interesting when Mandy and I were playing this yesterday. I was saying that I did it 4-1-1, and Mandy was suggesting that she preferred an open hand position. Is that what you're talking about? The possibility of that?
This.
Yeah.
So is that still doing 4-1-1, Mandy, or you'll have to? Yeah.
You'll unmute.
So actually, she's nodded. So doing it like that.
Yeah.
But doing it with the open hand. Yeah.
Just
okay.
Yeah. I mean, I just found that it sort of differentiated the two bits, you know. So I did 4-1-1, and then it was different again, 4-1-4-2-1. So it just helped to put it in my mind.
So you knew where you were at each point.
Yeah.
I see the logic of that. I see the logic of that as well. But then you've got to come back to this.
Yes, but it made you think. Yeah.
And coming into that, I see the logic there.
Yeah. But I did a piece not long ago that had got a lot of octaves going up, and so I learnt that technique. So I was happy with it.
Yeah. So generally, the open hand technique for octaves is about being able to damp other strings as you go. So if, like you say, if you have a load of octaves, say you were doing a scale, as you land, you kind of do a damp as you land.
That was the original, you know, the original piece required a certain amount of damping. So it just came naturally, shall we say. So
there we go. Well, if it works, that's brilliant.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is about this piece is I've completely forgot about the repeat.
So I threw you off.
Yeah, well, it was you get so used to playing something, you practice it and you go through it and you play it with somebody and you forget the repeat. And so when you come to play it properly, somebody says repeat, you go, oh yeah, you're completely lost.
Did you have the beginning marked up? beginning of the repeat.
Yes, I know where it is. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you added the extra line
little wings. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. I mean, I know where it is. It's just that so used to point being, I'm so used to playing it without the repeat that oh yes, that's what I should be doing. So that's all I would say.
Fair enough. Yeah, I try to always remember the repeats in the playthroughs as well. Go on, Judy.
That line 2,
Yes.
bar 5, and then where it comes again. That's what's kept me quiet in all this that I've been doing. I've been determined to get it right. And I have done, and I've had my fingers down, and you've taught me that, and I'm doing it in the other pieces that I'm playing now.
That warms my heart, Judy. That
So
really.
thank you very much.
You're really welcome. You're really welcome. And are you appreciating and benefiting from the sound improvement?
Very much so. It sounds more like a harp now than it used to.
That's wonderful to hear. That really is wonderful to hear. It does make a difference. And, you know, I am a stickler for technique. I mean, anyone that's watched my videos will know that. But why play an instrument if not to get the best sound, you know, or the sound you want from it? You know, it might be a quirky sound as well. That's cool. But, you know, that's why you do it, to make the best sound you possibly can and hopefully not injure yourself along the way.
But it's taken me 5 years or more to get this far.
Well, that's all right. There's no time limit. So that's grand. Super. Anyone else got anything they want to say or any questions on the piece or the process at all?
Mary, I'm still struggling with the fingering on the first 2 lines with the right hand, because I've been used to doing 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I don't know what comes next. Can't remember now. But instead of the 1, 1, I find that a bit tricky, and I have to really think hard about that.
About the slides.
Doing the 1, 1, yeah, doing the thumb slides rather than 1, 2, 3. Because usually with those, I always do 1, 2, 3. You know, Ailey Robertson does a lot of those, doesn't she? And other people, and you just end up doing 1, 2, 3. So I've struggled with that.
Okay.
I must admit.
I too have struggled with that, because I do 1, 2, 3, and I've tried really hard to do 1, 1. Well, I learned the first 2 lines with the 1, 2, 3, and then I was talking to my harp teacher, and she said, "Try it 1, 1," and I said, "I can't play it 1, 1." And I went home and I tried it 1, 1, and actually it is a bit easier. But
have I to persist then, Jane? Have I got to keep at it?
Yeah, do, because it's actually your hands fall on the notes better if you do 1, 1.
Yeah,
and I know it is also quite traditional to do it 1, 2, 3, isn't it? Yeah. And that's why I was doing it 1, 2, 3, and it's 1, 1, definitely.
But it sounds better too, I think.
Yes, yeah. I still haven't got from bar 5 to bar 8. I still can't get that with the left hand as it's written. So I'm afraid I don't do it as it's written. I just do the octave on both lines just at the moment, because I just thought I can't keep up.
That's okay. So there, you can do the octaves in the left hand and do it just like the first line again.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're playing with other people anyway, it'll be covered elsewhere. You could also go D, A, D, D, A, D, and just do octave and fifth, like the second half of the bar, but do that in the first half of the bar as well. So if you wanted to differentiate and put a little bit more bass in there at that point, you could do that. And that might be the first step, so that you introduce the putting the 2 together and maintaining what's going off in the top end.
Yeah.
So that might be a stepping stone into then one day trying the leaps. I mean, I'm not a. I was brought up in Wales, and taught the Welsh harp, but not in a core traditional music method. So I was sort of taught, sort of stepping stone to pedal harp was the route that was traditional in the area of Wales that I was brought up in. So my fingerings aren't steeped in history and tradition of folk music. So they're kind of more what I believe works regardless, I suppose. I just sort of, I actually find putting the 1, 2, 3 on really tedious, really kind of, I mean, obviously I like the fingering I've gone with because I did it, but it kind of almost puts too much emphasis on each note. Whereas if you make the thumb slide, it lets it trickle down to the important note, which is not the grace notes. Does that make sense?
I think I just need to practice it more, Mary, and get that fingering in my head.
And breathe through it. Write it in.
Yeah.
Get written in and kind of breathe through it. But there's lots of space to lift then. 2, 1, come off. And then you might go 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. Perhaps, you know, there's lots of space to lift. And try and keep thinking of it as a space creator, not an extra job, I would say.
There's a question on chat, Mary, about bar.
Yeah,
you've got it. You've got it.
Yeah, I'm going to let Phyllis speak first because she had a hand raised, and then I will come to the question in the chat. So that would be great. Thank you. Go on ahead, Phyllis. Oh, even though you've unmuted, you're not unmuted. I don't understand why. Oh, it's not. We're not picking up your sound. You're right. You're unmuting. You are doing the right thing, but it's not. I don't know if you want to type it into the chat. Okay, you do that. Sorry. Okay. Let's go into here. Heidi, I'll look at Heidi's question first, then while Phyllis is typing. Why are measures 13 and 33 and those sections notated differently in rhythm? Maybe I'm missing something. I mean 9. Okay, let's have a look. 13. Okay, so from bar 9 to bar 13. Is that what we mean? Where's Heidi? I've probably hidden you with my chat. So do you mean that so like wrote line 3 and line 4? Sorry, Heidi.
It's okay. I was just trying to be simple and type it, but yeah, 9 through 12.
Yeah.
And 33 through 36. It's the same time signature, but it's just notated differently. I just wondered maybe if there was an explanation for that.
Okay, so thank you for that. So I also wondered this because I get I basically communicate with the composers. They very kindly donate their music, and I try and keep the recreation because I then type it out again and so that we get the building piece, and I try and keep it and maintain it with how they have it in their original. And I also sort of looked at that and recognized that. So what we have in bar 9, we have D, A, D sort of spaced in the left, E, F, A in the right. We still have that in bar 33, but as you say, it seems to be notated differently. My belief on this is that line 3, measures 9 onwards, because we're in 3/4, you're correct, but we've come from a 6/8 feel before it, that Shelley has tried to keep the visuals similar to the previous line so that we sort of have the correlation there. Whereas later on, when we come onto the second page, when we come into bar or measure 33, we've already been in 3/4 timing and we're still in 3/4 timing. So it's kept the structure of a 3/4 visual from where we've been. So it's about the ease of reading from where you've just been, if that makes sense. So technically, both are okay. You're right in a way that the measure 9 onwards is an unusual way of grouping it when we are in 3/4, no longer 6/8. But it's to sort of bring that parallel over, I think, from what's just gone before. Is that okay? Yep, lovely, thank you. Okay, Phyllis. Oh, bless you. Good question. I'm not a mode expert. So we call this D Dorian. I believe. Anyone that wants to correct me absolutely can. I don't know if David, you know more about these things than me. We call this D, usually refer to it as D Dorian, I think, because it's Dorian mode based around the note D.
Yes, that's how I understand it. Yeah.
Great. On this note, however, Shelley, Fairplay, the fabulous composer of this piece, who has the book that you can pre-order. If you have pre-ordered it, you've probably had an email from her today explaining there's a tiny bit of a delay in the books being sent out. But the bonus of that is that she's doing a bit of a launch party on the 6th of February. And I can share that information with you. And it's a free webinar for anybody to attend, not just those that have pre-ordered her book. And she is going to sort of, it's called Modes Reloaded, like the book is, and it will, I guess, be introduced in the book, but also some of these concepts. But yes, I would call this D Dorian. It's the Dorian mode. Modes are just another version of scales, and scales are just a combination of semitones and tones in a set order. So we might be familiar with the major scale combination. A Dorian's mode is a different combination of those that happens to fit. If you stick in C major and then start on D, it lines up correctly. But this is D Dorian because it's based around D. Go ahead, Jill.
I don't know whose workshop it was, but we worked out how to remember the different modes by I don't play like Mary after lunch. I loved it.
Very nice. I don't play. So Ionian, Dorian, and others. Yeah, Lydian, Mixolydian. Don't play like Mary. After lunch. I'm sure we've missed one there. But yeah, 2 others. There we go.
I know.
There we go. Sheila.
I know Susan Lambert. Sorry. Yes. Susan Lambert has got quite a lot of stuff on this. She went through quite a lot of it in the competition lessons.
That's right.
So I don't know whether any of it's on the website. So
the composition, yeah, all the composition she did is all there.
So she did a whole big class on modes.
There we go. So that's something you can access on our website if you go to the online. No, I think it's actually got a tab of its own, composition month. So yeah, that's good. Phyllis, do you still have a hand raised, or is that just left over from before? That's fine. That's lovely. Anybody else got any questions or any thoughts? Oh, Marie, are you just clapping? Or do you have a question?
I have a question. Well, it's not a question, it's information.
Ooh,
Shelley has a free 1-hour workshop on next Sunday afternoon on modes, because I've just signed up for it because it's free.
Excellent. That's
okay,
great.
that's passing that on. If you look on Shelley Fairplay, you'll find it.
Brilliant. Fabulous. Yes, so that's her workshop on Modes Reloaded. So that would be a really, really good experience. And she does run a Modes Reloaded course as well, which is a full course, which I think the next start for that is April or June. I forget which now. Go on, Jill.
We had the Harps Northwest composition competition last year, about this time last year till March, which I struggled with, but I produced something. And then somebody told me, I had no idea that it was in Mixolydian mode. I had no idea, but that's what somebody told me when we played them all together on Zoom or something. So I just thought, oh, right. But I had no idea that I'd done it.
Brilliant. That's really good. So I think, Sheila, you wrote this down, so you might have it right. That would be like being in the key of C, but basing it around G? Yes.
I'd have to get it out and look again, Mary. I don't know.
There we go. That's super. That's brilliant. Any other questions, anyone? Last ones? No? Excellent. Okay, so shall we do a more flowing, speedier playthrough? And you're welcome to sit back and listen or join in with as many hands as you wish. That would be lovely. And don't fret about it either. So I've got my original sound on already. There we are, organised. So the sensible thing to do at this point is, and this is true for me as for anyone, is to go, okay, how fast do I actually want to play the middle bit? That feels okay. Remember, this is a fast playthrough. So to suss that out, whether actually out loud or just to myself, and then to go, right, so dum ba da dum bum, and know what my starting is going to be. Okay, so I'm doing that lovely calm opening approach. All right, so 1 and 2 and repeat. Well done. Beautiful. Well done. Thank you. Thank you ever so much. There is a RAL on that last line. I didn't do much of one that time because I wanted to keep you with me, but you could actually really exaggerate that more. As Kate, you and I were saying last week, weren't we, that that ending can actually be quite haunting as it slowly thins out and it just ends up with just that top melody, and you could exaggerate that further. Definitely, so lovely. Well done. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking part all month round, or big chunks of it.
Thank you, Mary.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome.
Yeah, been very good. I've had a reason to get out of bed
Which in January means a lot. So
Oh, yeah.
Now what shall I do?